You want to know how to wash your plushies.
Now, luckily for you guys, I had the steps to do that.
Now, I do know there have been previous videos all over YouTube that have shown you how to wash your own plushies in certain styles. But this is going to be a new video about that because, well, previous videos have came out like years ago, and hopefully this will reach out to newer audiences. Regardless of how long it's been since this tutorial video has come out, I'm still going to put links in the description so that way you can check out other videos of how to wash your plushies. While you're here, you might as well know how I do it. For me, usually I'll put it in the washer, but I'll make sure that the water is like really cold. Yeah, we're not using a washer for this video. Now, if you're like me, you play with your plushes and or you're a YouTuber who does plush adventure videos. Obviously, if you play with your plushes, they're going to get dirty, especially if you take them outside. Before I owned any of the plushes I have recently, which are like the Sonic plushes and the Great Eastern plushes, I would usually chuck them in the washer, because before I owned like Jazzware plushes, Tomy plushes, and that's because I didn't worry about the material that was on them, because usually they weren't made with anything special. And if you guys want an example of what a plushie looks like before and after you put it in a washer, here's how it looks like before, this is what it looks like after a couple washes and drying. In a certain way, I could see how you could use the washer method, but regardless of the matter, using a dryer is still the main enemy. So in today's video, I'm going to give you all a step-by-step on how to hand wash your plushies. I'll show you all step-by-step on how to do the process. It's actually really simple. Before I show any of the following clips, make sure you have a bucket full of water and also mix it with soap. And also get another bucket on standby because you need to wring out all the soap that's going to be within the plush because you don't want it to be drying out and there's going to be like soap and bubbles inside of the plush. So get 2 buckets of water, one with soap, one without, and also get a towel to dry off your plush or have it lay out in the sun. Now that we got everything set up, let's continue on with the video. First things first, we're going to wash Sonic. Well, as you guys can see, I already have him in the water bucket. Basically, whatever plush you have, you're going to want to soak it within the bucket because you want all that soap to be absorbed within the plush. It's almost like using a sponge for it to absorb all the water. Just like an actual washing machine, you're going to want to move around the plush so it can get every little spot. Make sure you rub all over the plush too, so that way it acts as if you're scrubbing off any sort of dirt or like any other dust particles that are on it. Make sure you really take your time with this process. It's not just a one and done thing. You're going to have to take a couple minutes for sure. Because this thing is definitely a little bit of a repetitive process, but it's not too much of a crazy repetitive process. Just rinse and repeat, literally. After you're done moving around your plush, you're going to want to take it out and put it into the other bucket that has no soap in it so that way you can get all the bubbles off of it. If you guys really want, you don't need to carry a spare bucket. You could always just use like a water hose or whatever it is that you could just wash off. Regardless, the idea of getting the bubbles off is still there. Now here's the next step. A lot of you guys might be wondering, oh, now my plush is full of water and is completely soaked. What do I do now? Well, now you got to wring out the plush. To wring something out, basically just squish or twist whatever your object is that you're washing. Make sure you get all the water drenched out of the object. But in this case, you mainly just want to squish and push. You don't want to really twist anything on your plush because you're going to make it look a little deformed. You also don't want to damage anything on your plush. So yeah, just basically focus on pushing and squeezing. Just a side note for any of you guys who are wondering why I'm hand washing my plushes nowadays, it's because I come to the realization that some of my plushes are actually completely rare now. Just in case you guys weren't paying too much attention to detail, I'm actually washing the first edition of the Sonic the Hedgehog Great Eastern plush. Many of you guys may be questioning, what? First edition? Yes, that's correct, because if you look at the first edition of the Sonic the Hedgehog plush made by GE, you'll notice that it still reuses the ironed-on material such as the other plushes that are from the Sonic the Hedgehog line created by Great Eastern. The ironed-on material being those stuff that's on the eyes and also the mouth, meaning it's from a different material, not fabric. It's also the sort of material you'll see under Shadow's shoes. And for any of you guys who are very familiar with the ironed-on material, you'll know that it ends up fading over time, cracking, or completely just falling off whenever it gets worn out. Even while washing a plush that has this material, it just makes it even worse because even just by washing it and putting it in a dryer, it'll completely destroy the material. I unfortunately learned that the hard way when it came to certain plushes that I own. You know, now that I sit back and think about it, it starts to make a lot more sense knowing that Great Eastern switched the materials for the eyes and the mouths for the characters. I personally didn't like it so much because I think it ruined the consistency of the plushes being side by side with each other. And once again, I'm not too sure if they're going to be doing this to other Sonic plushes, because they've already been doing it to other plushes that they have as, like, franchise tie-ins. But for me personally, I'm a fan of the ironed-on eyes and material, so I'm just going to keep these plushes for as long as possible before I even replace them. Who knows when that'll happen. But I just hope it doesn't happen to the rest of the other GE Sonic plushes, because I don't really picture them with the other material that's being used for them. Alrighty, where were we? Alright, we were washing the plush. In terms of rinse and repeating, I say like maybe do this a couple times, maybe 2 times in a row. Whatever the heck that means. It really just matters on how clean you want your plush. That's what I'll say. It also really matters on how dirty the plush is also. So, like, if your thing's like covered in nothing but pure dirt, you're gonna take a while for sure. Anyways, guys, this is gonna be it for the rest of the video. This is most likely the most safest and best method you could use when it comes to washing a plush. I've only ever done it a couple times, but that's because I never really washed my plushes as of recently. I actually think it's been a while now that I think about it. But should any of my plushes get dirty again, this is going to be my go-to when it comes to cleaning out any of them. Now, before the video actually ends, I'll of course show an after result of how all the other plushes came out. They came out really clean, and also they have a lot less dust or whatever hairs are on them. You guys may be thinking, what the heck, why are there going to be little hairs on them? Maybe when you are washing your plushie, you'll see a couple of hairs come out too. I don't know. I own pets, so sometimes they get rubbed off against my dogs or cats. But you guys will definitely see that the details are a lot cleaner, especially in the white areas, because they used to collect a lot of dust and they're most noticeable whenever it comes to getting dirty. So guys, this is how I wash my plushies. Let me know if you guys used this method and tell me how it went. Other than that, guys, it's been Zach, and peace out.